Hello everybody and welcome back to Animal Crossing City Folk. Today's our, I think, 230th day in this city. It has been a long time. And I know I've already replied to it in actual comment form. I do realize that this series has gotten kind of boring. To me, it's just kind of become a place for me to just kind of talk about something I want to talk about for 20 to 30 minutes. The main reason why I'm branching out and doing more series now is to, well, have more meaningful content on the channel. Because even as has been suggested, if I were to go back to... What? I don't remember that at all. I think that's a new fish. But even if I were to go back to, say, Wild World, I would only have maybe 30-ish days of content before the city is just, well, done. There is no actual city development to Wild World. There was connectivity between Wild World and City Folk that allowed you to donate bells from Wild World to affect City Folk, but you can't do that anymore as far as I can tell, and I wouldn't have been able to do it anyway because I don't own a physical copy of Wild World. Thus, I wouldn't, well, or even if I did, I don't have a DS capture device. So it would be kind of awkward to be donating bells from Wild World when I can't show the Wild World world. But even with that, I do believe it did actually take the Wii Connect thing that is shut down. What you'll find is a general trend with a lot of things between the DS and the Wii. They just don't work anymore. Which is honestly something that's quite sad. Because I don't think there's anything that doesn't still work on, say, like the N64, the SNES, even the GameCube. But the Wii has dead features now that can really almost, well, they can work again. People can make them work. But it's just, well, Nintendo shut them down, and then for people like me, it'll never probably work again. Because I don't trust third-party sources with stuff like the Wii. But I do get that there's really not a lot that tends to happen in these days, and they are pretty much a routine every single day. And I can't exactly help that, except for to say that, well, tomorrow we have a special event going on. Like, tomorrow is Halloween, so we will be doing Halloween, and then in November, I believe we will have Thanksgiving. So, there will be little events, and then come December, we'll have Christmas. And I think that will basically be the last event we see, because I think by the time we come to our 1-year mark, the new Animal Crossing might be out. And if it's out, we'll move on to it. Which, well, expect another year of it, basically. I have kind of been thinking of, if the new Animal Crossing isn't out within, like, the year, of just, for a short time, changing out, Animal Crossing for Stardew Valley. I know they're not the exact same game, but, I mean, it's close enough. Kind of. with how I play, it's more than close enough. But it just give a nice little casual game that, you know, we'd be able to just kind of exist with. And I mean, Stardew Valley is a pretty cool game, so. Though it's closer to Harvest Moon, which is kind of ironic because I can't stand Harvest Moon, but I kind of like, well, I actually quite like Stardew Valley. And I've still yet to figure out exactly why, but I think it has a lot to do with you don't absolutely have to farm. Like, most of the money making I do in Stardew Valley is from fishing, which also gives me resources, which means I don't really ever have to go into the dungeon either, because I'm getting resources well above what I could get from the dungeon just by fishing. Like iridium. I think it's called iridium. The purple bars. On a save I have on the PS4, I think I've got like 30, 40 some bars of that, and I've never gone into the desert cave. I haven't even gotten past, I think, like floor 30 in the actual dungeon, because ocean fishing is just where it's at, man. Yeah, let's talk to a few villagers. Heya, heya, darling. Woohoo, Bun Bun. Check out my outfit. It's total fishing fashion. Now I've totally gotta go buy a fishing rod, right? I can handle fishing, but I'm not about to become one of those crazy outdoor types. Fair enough. I kind of blanked on what she was saying. I'm not tired. Hello there, a spot zoom for a little walk. I've been thinking about something for a long time, and it's really starting to bug me. You know, we get a lot of visitors here in Halifax, and not just folks from around here. Yeah, I don't know. A lot of you say that, and I can never give you an answer. Sup? Woohoo! Hey, do you know that did you know that there are some special flowers that only bloom in totally pretty places? I'll bet those flowers are mega super gorgeous. But definitely get one of them puppies to bloom. I think she's referring to carnations, which is why we, you know, can't ever just grow them here via, like, seeds. Ugh, yawning. I am actually quite tired. I am existing on a kind of a short nap, and that's about it. I also need to be very mindful that I don't have a whole lot of storage space left on my computer. I'm overdue on transferring files off of it, so today might be on the slightly shorter side. Let's try donating this. I think we already have, but nope. Okay, it's quite. Phew. Why, you've managed to catch quite a massive fish, haven't you? Commendable. The pike is a relative of the salmon. It can grow to a whopping 52 inches or more in length. If I met one of these during a dip in the water, I do believe I would launch into thrashing panic mode. Ooh, all that aside, after your gratitude, rest assured your aquatic friend will be most happy. Yep, more things. We have potential fossils that have a low chance of being new, but they might be. Ugh, yawning again. Jeez. At this point, I basically just need to try and stay awake until about the time I want to go asleep. Yes, go asleep. Go to sleep. Ugh. My brain isn't even working right. The only thing is, I had planned on recording more Fire Emblem tonight. Not gonna happen. Not in this tired state. I don't want to be yawning every 2 seconds during something that isn't Animal Crossing. Because let's face it, the Animal Crossing is just life. Fire Emblem isn't life. Fire Emblem is love. And also, I just remembered from saying that, I feel like I need to nerd out for a second. And this is more also just a response to a comment that I didn't feel like justifying with just a actual text comment. The Fire Emblem games are very diverse and different. Literally, that is part of my issue with Fire Emblem Awakening and Fire Emblem Fates, is they are so different from the rest of the games. I mean, yeah, for the most part, they follow a formula. That formula being tactics-based gameplay with, you know, units you recruit and level up as you go. And class up. And, you know, it's a similar formula every time. But to say they're all the same game would be basically like saying every Pokemon game is the same. Anyone who plays a Pokemon game knows how wrong that is. Because we have outright experienced all of the differences in every game. Whether you even know that difference happened or not, even just subtle things like, with, well, moving from the Gen 3 games to Gen 4 of the physical special split. That did definitely make Gen 4 games feel very different than anything before them. Even just going from the original Gen 1 games, you know, Red, Blue, Yellow, to Gold, Silver, Crystal. Special stat being split into special attack and special defense was a big thing. None of the Pokemon games ever make a massive change. Because why would they? Their formula works. I mean, as much as I really want a different type of Pokemon game, I know why they don't give us a different type of Pokemon game. Especially because Sun and Moon, I think, is one of the most disliked recent Pokemon games, and I don't quite understand why. I thought both Sun and Moon and Ultra Sun, Ultra Moon were solid games. I know everyone's like, oh, Sun and Moon wasn't finished. I think it was. They were just telling a different story. And then for Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon, they didn't want to just tell the exact same story again. So they told a bit of a different one. That'd be like getting mad that Black 2 doesn't just retell the story of... Like, Black and White 2 doesn't just retell the story of Black and White. I mean, albeit Black and White 2 doesn't really have a story to speak of. Like, that's honestly been my issue with Black and White 2. But a large part, when it comes to the Fire Emblem games, that makes them distinct and different from each other is, well, the story. I mean, yeah, if you don't really care about the story, then it doesn't matter to you. But even mechanically, they do change. Like, once again, with Awakening and Fates, expanding upon the support system and turning the games kind of just into a dating sim. Like, that is a major difference. Having your characters be able to get married, and then in Awakening, you able to find and recruit their children because time travel. Which I didn't quite like that system, because the way they did it made it kind of just a giant game of selective breeding. You would basically, if you wanted the most optimal group, you would only pair certain people together, and only after you had had these certain people learn very specific skills Like, if you want, oh, jeez, I can't remember any of the children. The Dragon Girl's daughter. If you want her to have counter, you need to have the Dragon Girl marry someone that has counter in their second skill slot, I believe it is. Like, that is the extent you have to go to get counter onto a child character that's female, anyway. Because, you know, females can't be berserkers, apparently. That is one thing that I've always kind of... Nook, I don't... Your store is good as it is, buddy. Righty. Yeah, one thing that's always a little annoyed me is a lot of, like, the male-specific classes don't make a whole lot of sense that they're male-specific. I mean, I can understand Wyvern Riders being male-specific counterparts to Pegasus Knights, and that works. It's a one-to-one comparison there. But then you get, like, Berserkers. Okay. Why can't female units be a Berserker? Is it because they just don't feel like modeling a female avatar that's possibly not really wearing a shirt? Because they do that a fair bit anyway. Like, I don't get it. There's no real counterpart to the Berserker for female classes. Leaving, quite honestly, the female classes quite often without a power class. That is kind of rectified in Awakening, that is one thing I have to give it. Because Griffin Riders are really cool and are really powerful. And I suppose also with Awakening, it doesn't matter if you're a power class or not. You will have maximum stats, so it doesn't really matter. So that's a thing. Hey, Pom Pom. Oh, darling, this is perfect timing. Are you into recycling? I am indeed. Awesome, me too. I'm all about saving our precious natural resources and stuff. Just got a pastel dot wall from the recycling bin. Fair enough. You know what, I'm gonna go check the recycling bin. But yeah, okay, the recycling bin's empty. Like, I can really understand if just Fire Emblem is not your cup of tea. But the games are very distinctly different. Even just down to, like, well, simple story changes. Even though they do tend to almost always ultimately boil down to fighting the same final bad guy, which is usually just a giant dragon. You can't really get at them for that because, well, let's face it, every Pokemon game ends with you fighting a champion with a, honestly, pretty bad team. The only champion that's ever had an actual decent team has been Cynthia, and everyone always complains about how difficult she was. I never actually had an issue beating her myself, but that's me. My team ended up being actually quite powerful by the end. And then in, I think it was Oras, where you find her again in a house and battle her. I think it was that. I once again was being told how difficult she was, whatever game it was. And I just kind of walked all over her team because I knew what to expect. And I mean, yeah, her Pokemon were a bit higher level than me, but that didn't matter a whole lot. I said this episode was probably going to be on the shorter side, and it's already at 20 minutes. So the actual video probably isn't 20 minutes. It's probably closer to 18, 19. But, yeah. I should probably come in here and end this off before I continue ranting and run out of hard drive space. So, with that, I'd like to remind everyone I do have a Patreon should you wish to throw money at me. If you don't want to, that's perfectly fine. With that said, I thank you all very much for watching, and I hope to see you again next time for more Animal Crossing City Folk. See you all then.